This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
It's the Lynx versus the Washington Mystics this Friday. Tip-off is at 6:30 p.m. Catch every play, every bucket, and every big moment, as always, on KFAN and the Lynx station on the free iHeartRadio app.
Watch my heroes in the TV highlights. Breathless moments, young desires. Game day nerves following sleepless nights. Waiting for the moment when I strut out on the field, yeah. Here I grow. It's my turn. Start the show. 'Cause I'm waiting for the moment when I strut out on the field, yeah. Here I go.
I mean, it's like, hello?
It's my turn. Start the show. Find out what your destiny brings the man right out of you. Push it hard, push it strong, push it on.
Is this a, what's the name of this one?
Strut on the field.
I don't remember any of these having lyrics to them. Is this the first
Well,
ever?
some of them have lyrics. This one, I think, is just because it's been playing for almost 2 minutes.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I didn't realize it was. Have I been away?
Maybe
that
you just
long?
never gotten to that part before.
Let's go ahead and do 534 then.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hit, hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
Luke Keeschel, back from injury after 103 days, hit a home run off Chris Paddock in his first at-bat as the Twins beat the Tigers 6-3 last night in Detroit. Keeschel also added an RBI single in the 5th inning. Keeschel has reached base in all 8 games he has played in the major leagues. He's the first Twins rookie to begin his career with a 7-game hitting streak since Miguel Sano in 2015. Common, will Luke Keeschel be a mainstay in the Twins lineup for years to come?
They ought to give him an $80 million 8-year contract. Is what they ought to do right out of the gate if he's matching Miggy. Here's what I found interesting is it almost seems like people are disappointed that the Twins won. They're so angry and bitter with the fire sale that they want him to lose. I texted Rosen, what do you think of the Twins now? They're up like 6-1. He goes, Paddock's always been bad. It's almost like he's disappointed that the Twins won. Twins played a really sharp game yesterday. They looked good. I tried to tell people this team is no better or no worse than the team that and I'm beginning to think the team we have now might be better. When you double up on the other team by 3 runs, you don't need a closer. You don't. Just outscore him. You don't need a closer. Kid looked great. He can play. They do have a couple of young pieces. I don't know if they can. The Keeschel guy looks pretty good. I think Brooks Lee has a chance. Royce Lewis is good. And then I did see they did a highlight package last night. Remember Rosen talking about is it Watkins? Is that the draft pick that's playing some minor league?
Walker Lee.
Walker Lee. Is that his name? They showed a highlight package. I mean, he was like whatever minor leagues, wherever he's playing right now, he was like their player of the week of the month or something. Kid can tear the cover off the ball. So the Keeschel guy looks terrific. But again, we've seen there have been other players over the years that Royce Lewis is a prime example. Injury riddled. Now, Royce Lewis, if he can stay healthy, seems like he's not a flash in the pan, but I don't know. I don't know if Keeschel is, but he was sure good last night. I know that.
By the way, you mentioned the Miguel Sano 8-year, $80 million contract that someone had brought up at that time during his rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
The Boston Red Sox and rookie Roman Anthony. Anthony has played 46 career games this season, his first year. They just agreed to a 8-year, $130 million contract extension. So same thinking in line of me with 8 and 80 with Miguel Sano.
Correct.
See how it turns out for them.
Great minds think alike.
Question number 2.
Go Vikings, let's win this game. You'll hear us yell for more.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the state of the skull.
Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison has been suspended without pay for the first 3 games of the 2025 regular season for a violation of the league's substance abuse policy. Addison pleaded no contest in July to a lesser charge of wet reckless driving stemming from a July 2024 drunken driving arrest in Los Angeles. Addison will first be allowed to play in the Vikings Week 4 international game against the Steelers in Dublin. Common, will Addison's absence be a major loss, a minor loss, or no loss to the Vikings offense the first 3 weeks?
Well, that's a good question with a rookie quarterback. I'm not sure. Well, it has to be a loss. He's got talent, so we saw that, especially when Jets was out for that 6-7 games, whatever it was. He's a talented kid. I just hope this is a lesson to him that he's not out drinking and driving anymore. I mean, you just can't be doing that. That's just crazy stuff. You're gonna kill somebody someday. So, more than anything, I hope next time here's the thing. The team will do everything they can to keep you out of precarious situations. You could be drunker than Hooter Jones at the Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles, and you call somebody to the Vikings and say, I need somebody to pick me up. They'll have somebody there in instantly, in a split second. So just don't get behind the wheel of your car if you've had something to drink, and everything will be good. So hopefully he learns a lesson more than anything. And I think they do miss him. Where we on that scale that you had, a lot, a little, none at all. What do you think?
I think it could potentially be a minor loss if everything else is in place, right? If Hawkinson's healthy, if Jefferson's healthy, because I think you can get away with Jalen Naylor as your number 2 if you're probably playing a little bit more 2 tight end sets and not having 3 wide receivers on the field. I think, and given that probably the first 3 games is the stretch of schedule that they hopefully are leaving that 2-1, maybe 3-0. I mean, that's where they really got to attack that schedule the first 5 games. If everything else is in place, I think they can get away with it. But once you start having some other issues, then that becomes even more apparent. That's kind of a cop-out.
By the way, it's not Walker Lee, it's Walker Jenkins.
Walker Jenkins.
Walker Jenkins. You were mixing up Brooks Lee and Walker Jenkins, I think.
I knew it wasn't Watkins, but yeah.
Walker Jenkins.
Question number 3. It's time now for a look at the Lynx.
The Lynx, sans Nafisa Collier, beat the Seattle Storm 91-87 last night at Climate Pledge Arena. DeJounte Carrington, in her Lynx debut after being acquired from the Dallas Wings, scored 13 points on 5 of 7 shooting to go along with 4 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 assists. Courtney Williams led the Lynx with 20 points, including a pair of clutch baskets in the final minute. Common, what sticks out to you from last night's big Lynx win on the road?
I'd give it one of these. All we do is win. It doesn't surprise me, right? It's almost. I'm certainly not going. I guess with a yawn, I am sort of saying that it's kind of boring. It's really not. It's just kind of business as usual. It's a nice win. Fees out. We think minimum 2 weeks. How much is left of the regular season? There's not a lot left, is there? One of the playoffs. One's postseason. There's no way we're missing postseason. So just keep winning more than you lose, and we'll be fine when they get her back. So, and the player they got in the trade, apparently she played fine. So
good debut.
Yeah, I think. The Lynx have the best record in the league, and it's by a fairly large margin, isn't it? Isn't it it
was by like 5.5 last time I checked.
So it's like
now the team that's chasing them, they're going to face them 3 times.
Correct.
Without MVP.
Yeah.
So that could be narrowed.
We'll be fine.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually, 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Brian Oak joins us at 1:30 with Little Rock Talk Rose, and just before 2 of that and more here on the Common Man program with Tennessee in Common, right here on the Fan.
Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program?
Oh, wait. Wrong.
Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Brian text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
I believe, Tennessee, we've already talked about the LaVale Lee Neal III preposterous statement. Not so much a preposterous
Well, you need to be more
statement.
specific.
Well, it's not even so much of a statement, just a bad prediction. He tweeted this out back on the 24th of last month at 10:45 in the evening. Trade deadline thoughts. Dealing Joe Ryan for a significant overpay only. Making same demand for Jax or Duran sounds nice, but unrealistic. Moving Vasquez, Paddock, France, Larnach, Wallner, Delke. What do you expect to get for them? Prediction, Twins don't make a trade. His prediction was the Twins do not make a trade. Well, they did make a trade. They made several trades, including 10 players.
It was only off by 10 trades.
It was only off by 10 trades is all he was off. One other, Tennessee, we talked about I've already experienced it out on the freeway and the highway. The law that came into effect about, was it a week ago? It was the 1st of August, whenever it was, where motorcycles now are allowed to drive between cars in traffic. So if you're going now, again, the traffic, they're not, if you're driving 65, 70 miles an hour, I don't think they're allowed to go between cars on the dotted line, right? But if traffic is 25 miles per hour slower, 25 miles per hour or slower, motorcycles are allowed to drive between lanes of traffic. And as I mentioned to you, it sounds good on the surface. And I'm not against it, but to me, I don't know if it has disaster written all over it, but I'm not real comfortable with it. And sure enough, Tennessee, here's our first story. This is from, what's the date today?
August 6th.
6th, this is about a week ago. Motorcyclist injured after lane splitting dispute ends in hit and run. Clearwater man is charged with felony assault and 2 gross misdemeanors after allegedly swerving his pickup truck into a motorcyclist.
Oh.
Crash happened Tuesday evening, so this would have been back in late July, in St. Cloud, causing the rider to hit a median in falling off his bike, resulting in injuries. Christopher Ian Goman, 36, is charged in Stearns County with second-degree assault with a dangerous weapon, criminal vehicular operation causing bodily harm through gross negligence, and criminal vehicular operation causing bodily harm and leaving the scene of a collision. All 3 charges stem from an incident reported Tuesday evening on Division Street. According to the criminal complaint, police were called around 7:45 p.m. on July 29 for a hit and run involving a motorcycle. Officers arrived to find the rider with the visible scrapes and road rash to his arm. Man told police he'd been riding on Division Street and was stopped at a red light when a red pickup truck pulled alongside. As the light turned green, he said the truck swerved toward him twice, forcing him into the medium curb and causing his motorcycle to crash. He was thrown from the bike into oncoming traffic. Multiple witnesses told police they saw the crash happen and described the truck's actions as deliberate. One rider said Goldman gave the motorcyclist the middle finger before accelerating and veering into his lane. A second witness described it as an extreme swerve that caused the crash, followed by the truck speeding away without stopping. Another rider chased the truck to Highway 23 and Lincoln Avenue, where he confronted Goldman and told him to pull over. When questioned by law enforcement, Goldman allegedly admitted he didn't believe lane filtering was legal and said he was trying to stop the rider from doing it.
Yep.
Taking the law into his own hands is what he was doing. Goldman remains in custody, being held on an order of detention. If convicted, he faces up to 7 years in prison for for the felony assault charge and up to 365 days in jail for each of the gross misdemeanor charges. So there's your first issue, Ted. Now, there may be others that I've not heard about.
I was wondering if that would happen and you'd have the road rage from the people that don't know it's legal.
Correct.
And they think, oh, that guy's trying to one up on me, not waiting in line like I got to wait in line.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, well, we saw the video, was it last summer or the summer before, where up in Anoka they were doing all that work, and the MnDOT cameras caught the pickup truck driver. He doesn't understand it's the zipper merge, right? I mean, it says right there, merge at this point, right, where the lanes come together. You don't all get one line and let the line stretch out for 13, 14 miles. You use that lane until it actually comes to an end, and then you merge in and you take turns at the merge, right? That's what it says.
Yeah.
That's the law. That's what it is, and people don't understand.
It's the most efficient way to get traffic moving.
Yes, exactly. And the one guy in the pickup truck just went, he saw the car coming. He goes, I'll teach him, because he thought he was trying to cheat the system.
Yep.
And he just lurched his truck out and slammed into the guy and knocked the guy into the ditch. It's insane. And look, I'm all for it, but if I'm riding a motorcycle, I don't know if I want to do it.
Not if I trust people, yeah.
That's it. I not only forget about the idiot that's going to try to knock you into the ditch and try to kill you with his truck or car, or try to I'll teach him a lesson. But just if all of a sudden you're going, and let's say you decide to change lanes, because when, especially during rush hour when there's construction, how many times might you be in the left lane and then there's a little gap in the right lane? Somebody's maybe everybody's usually bumper to bumper, right? Well, there might be a 2 or 3 car length. You just say, oh, I'm going to switch lanes. So what if you decide to switch lanes? You don't notice motorcycle guy. And again, you should notice motorcycle guy, but you don't always notice motorcycle guy. So motorcycle guy gets hit and says, I was in the right. Well, it doesn't matter if you were in the right or not. You're injured, right? It's the same thing when we see the people that, the guys that like to ride bikes on regular streets, and they're allowed to, right? You can ride your bike. You're supposed to stay in between the, that white line where the lane ends on the right side. But even if you're in the right and you get clipped by a car and get killed just because you were in the right, doesn't bring your life back, right? So I don't even know if I would pay attention, if I would trust those, like you say. Someone says lane splitting went into effect on July 1st. So it wasn't August 1, it was July 1st. So maybe there's been some other incidents that have not been brought to my attention. This one says lane splitting in California started in the 1980s, successful there. Minnesota has driver issues. Drivers here still haven't figured out the zipper merge. I believe that as well.
It is pretty crazy how we still have people that won't do the zipper merge and then get annoyed when other people are doing it.
Why would any motorcyclist trust other drivers, let alone drive between them? Have they not seen most accidents involve at least one four-wheeled vehicle? And that's exactly what I was saying. I wouldn't trust the drivers. Right? Yep. It's even if you are in the right and it is legal. This one says drivers crowding the lane to not let us over equals driver losing their mirror. Sincerely, your local motorcycle rider. You'll get back at him one way or the other. This text message says, I think rule is motorcycles can go 25 max 15 cars or so. Cars would need to be going 10 or less. Yeah, I don't know the exact details of how fast cars, Yeah, like you can't go, if you're flying down 494 and it's 3 lanes and you're doing 70 miles an hour, the motorcyclists are not supposed to go between the cars doing 80. I do know that. This one says, Lavelle also deleted that tweet after the trade started. Yeah, someone else said the same thing. They said Lavelle doesn't like to be criticized. He deleted that tweet. So he got rid of those in a hurry when he predicted no trades. So there you go. So just let that be a lesson to you that sounds like this guy though with the witnesses and say I don't know. I'm not an attorney and I don't play one on TV or radio, but it sounds like this guy could be he could be up to his neck in trouble.
Well, especially when he left the scene of the crime.
It's all bad. We'll pause when we return. The legendary Brian Oak joins us for some Rock Talk. That's next here on The Fan.
Common, can you help with this vibe?
Sure, whatever.
It's a new one. I hope you're ready for this. Country sensation Hardy is bringing the Jim Bob World Tour to Somerset Amphitheater.
I should have been a cowboy. Should have learned to rope and ride.
Catch him when he takes the stage August 16th with special guest Co Wetzel.
I've been to Lukenbach, Texas with Waylon, Willie, and the boys.
Stephen Wilson Jr.
I was country when country wasn't cool.
And Sicarus.
I fell into a burning ring of fire.
Limited tickets are still available. Get the details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
I'm the common man, Dan Cole. That's going to be excited and delighted to welcome into the studio Brian Oak for another edition of Rock Talk. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing just fine. How are you, Common?
I'm doing well. You're also known, a.k.a. the Angel of Death. We use anytime a rock and roller passes away, we have you discuss the life and times and the legacy of whatever rock star that is.
And sadly, we're in an era, as we pointed out too many times, that it's just going to keep happening. You know, I mean, when you talk about that first or at least biggest wave of rock and roll, yeah, it's we're right in the sweet spot, man.
Mid 80s.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, I like to think that I'm certainly no musical expert. I don't know every artist, but I like to think I'm fairly well versed, especially in that those guys that were big in the 60s and 70s and maybe a little bit into the 80s. I saw this story on Rolling Stone, and I have to admit I've never heard of this artist. And you knew right away, Terry Reid, artist who nearly became Led Zeppelin's singer, dead at 75, revered by Mick Jagger and Aretha Franklin. The musician known as Superlungs released several cult favorite albums during the late 60s and 70s. And you know of him, right?
I do. Well, Superlungs is the album that everybody should start with if you want to know who Terry Reid is. That was his nickname because he was such a powerhouse singer and vocalist that everyone's like, whoa. And so when Jimmy Page decided that the Yardbirds were sort of wrapping up and he was going to work on a new thing, and it turned out to be Led Zeppelin, his original desire was to have Terry Reid join. And he talked to Terry, but Terry was very committed to doing what Terry was doing, wanted to have his own solo career. In fact, later would even turn down Deep Purple as an opportunity to be the vocalist, but he turned down Jimmy Page. But he did very poignantly and very significantly say, hey, I know this young cat named Robert Plant who's got an incredible voice, bluesy. I think he's going to fit in with what you guys are trying to do. And of course, the rest, as they say, is absolute history. But no, Terry Reid at the time, again, not a household name. Like you said, you pay attention to that stuff and you've never heard of him. By no means a household name, but an important figure in the 60s and the evolution of 60s British rock and roll for sure. Did he miss a chance at greatness? Who knows? Would Led Zeppelin have been the same with him at the front? Probably not exactly. So there's no way of knowing, but it shook out like it did. And yeah, Terry Reid dead at the age of 75.
It says between 68 and 78, he released 5 albums, and though he never scored a genuine chart hit, he garnered high praise from critics and esteem from his peers. And you'll see those artists all the time. I was just reading, and I'm going to forget which legendary artist it was, and the name of the musician he was talking about, but it was several of these legends said, "Oh, the best acoustic guitar player ever was so and so." I'd never heard of this acoustic guitar player,
right? And
I'd like to find the story. Maybe I'll sift through my library of stories that I saved to find out who it is, but. To me, that's almost, it doesn't pay the bills, but the highest praise you can get when there are legendary artists that people go, oh, no, you have no idea. You think I'm good? This is the guy. And it's guys you don't even know who they are.
But it's like here at Planet Utica, you know? Like you are an unsung hero to the unwashed masses, but within the industry itself, recognized as one of its towering greats, a genuine upper Midwestern broadcasting colossus.
It looks like your tongue is firmly implanted in your cheek, either that or you're chewing chaw or something.
I'd say somewhere in between the two things. Yeah, Aretha Franklin once said about Terry Reid, she said there are only 3 things happening in England right now. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Stones, and Terry Reid. Now, this is Aretha Franklin, who knows her way around a song. She was blown away enough by Terry Reid's legacy, his charisma, and his powerful talent that even Aretha is throwing out chops and putting him in the same conversation as the Beatles and the Stones.
Plant said in a tribute on Insta, I just call it Insta, I'm one of the kids.
Well, you're in a hurry, too. You got to chop that stuff down.
That's exactly right. Writing that Reid's, quote, enthusiasm and encouragement were incredible. Still teenagers, we crashed each other's gigs in crucified Season of the Witch time and time again. So much fun. So on it. He was all of everything. Such charisma. His voice's range, his songs capturing that carefree era, super lungs indeed. He catapulted me into an intense new world he chose to decline. I listen now to his album River and shed a tear for my brother in arms. So like you say, his recommendation got him into is one of the biggest supergroups of all time.
Robert Plant is not in Led Zeppelin unless Terry Reid recommends him to Jimmy Page, because Jimmy Page had that much respect for him. A, he wanted him, and B, he's like, that's the guy, and so they tried. And then if you've seen that Becoming Led Zeppelin documentary, which if you've not, I recommend to everybody. It's so fascinating. It talks about the formation and the first couple albums, but you know, that very first rehearsal where the four of them that we come to know as one of the greatest rock groups of all time, the first time they got together for a rehearsal, after a few hours, they're like, yeah, this is a thing. We got something here. But that day doesn't happen if Terry Reid takes the gig. So it's, you know, all these weird little moments through time that sort of change, and, you know, the butterfly effect, I guess. It's so wild how different it can be later on. But yeah, Terry Reid, again, and it's not my absolute favorite stuff. There's a lot of, obviously, talent and well played. There's a lot of that British blues-based rock and roll that just kind of sounds the same to me. So I don't have the same reverence for Terry Reid that a lot of these musicians of the era did. But he's good. You know, I mean, it's certainly worth listening to.
The way I would say,
oh man, here it comes.
You don't have to like him.
Here we go.
Terry Reid, but you have to respect him.
I would say that's fair, though. I would say that that's actually true.
Well, wasn't that the same as, wasn't there do I have the right guy? I get my musicians and my names mixed. So wasn't there a kid named Nick Drake?
Oh, yeah.
And then did he pass away at like a young age?
Very, very young.
And he never really reached great heights, right? But you will have people say, well, you have no idea how good this guy was.
Right.
It could have been.
And
right?
he was revered in exactly the same way. You know, it's funny in that Plant quote that you shared, that he shared in tribute to Terry Reid, where he talks about they'd get together and rip on Season of the Witch. It's weird for me to imagine all these British blues-based hard rockers getting together and making fun of all the folkies in England, because the folk revival was every bit as big in England. Well, it was bigger there than anywhere, but it was every bit as big as the blues revival there. And so, yeah, Nick Drake, along with like Donovan and the likes, was one of these young folkies. Nick Drake, he had actually more or less vanished into complete obscurity unless you worked at a record store or had incredibly cool musical friends who knew about him. But then it was one of those very first examples of product placement and song placement in a commercial that brought him back into at least American public consciousness. It was for that, I forget which one, but it was for one of the VW cars, and it had all the kids laying back looking out the sunroof, or rather the moonroof, at the stars above, and Nick Drake's Pink Moon was playing in the background, and everyone was like, what the hell is this? And then people looked and found out, and they're like, who's Nick Drake? And so he's enjoyed a decent-sized renaissance, I would say.
It's the same thing.
Still dead, though.
When Chevrolet, was it 2 years ago, they played Fleetwood Mac's Everywhere in the commercial.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, you know, now that was 1987. When was that released? That's a long time ago now.
Yeah,
right?
It was.
So there are many people that had never heard, they may have heard of Fleetwood Mac. They didn't know whatever. They hear that song suddenly went back into the top 100 songs in the country. I think it got back into the top 20 because people were going, what the hell is that song? And then they would download it and they'd be listening to it.
And now that you base songs on that kind of thing, like the ranking is actually based on downloads and online listening, not just radio play like it used to be. And so, yeah, you get that kind of thing happening. And you know, think about the number of bands either that have gotten a new lease on life, or you've heard of that you never otherwise would have heard of if they hadn't had prime placement in the OC or Gilmore Girls. There were a handful of these destination shows where the people behind them were good, and they had good music people around them, and they're like, we need something cool here. Not too cool for the room, but too cool for it to be a household name. And dozens, if not hundreds of bands and artists, hundreds of artists have benefited from that.
Well, I remember there was a time where there were artists or groups that say, we don't put this is art.
It's not for sale.
It's not for sale. We don't put it in commercial.
Right.
And the other people go, well, that's okay. I'll go ahead and give my song.
Allow me.
Yeah, allow me. And a lot of those people, I think, have kind of changed their mind a little bit. It's like, oh, you really? Sure. Go ahead, play it. I don't care. Desecrate my art. I don't care.
Well, and Led Zeppelin, circling back to them, they were notorious throughout the vast majority of their career, even when they really weren't playing together anymore, about not ever licensing their music for anything, with rare exception. One prime example, though, is that if you've ever stuck around and seen the final scene, one of the it wasn't really a blooper, but it ended up on the cutting room floor, School of Rock, Jack Black, at the big finale scene where all the Battle of the Bands is going on. They do a thing that's not included in the actual film where he's talking to the camera and he's speaking directly to Led Zeppelin, and he's like, please let us use Immigrant Song, please. And it was in a different scene entirely in the movie, but basically begging, and then turning around and he's doing this big sort of monologue about the impossible power of rock and roll from one of the greatest bands of all time. And they sent it off to Led Zeppelin and it worked, and he got to use the Immigrant Song in School of Rock.
Well, and in the last couple of years, I think 2 or 3 years ago, Led Zeppelin must have signed off on Cadillac using "Been a Long Time Since I Rockin'."
Well, yeah. So again, they've softened with age, I think. You know, I don't think any of them are in any need of money, but also, I mean, at a certain point, you're like, well, in what way is our legacy going to live on? And, you know, I don't sell it wholesale to everybody, but Cadillac's a respected brand and it fits awfully well. And I bet they wrote a big fat check to be able to use that song.
Here's a text that says Terry Reid actually sang a song on a Replacements album.
What?
That's what he says.
Which
Terry Reid
album?
actually sang on a Replacements album. I don't know.
I mean, I believe him.
Right.
Because Westerberg and company are the kind of people who would know who Terry Reid is and who would be like, we got to get this guy on the record somewhere. It's got to be one of the later records, because Terry Reid wouldn't have played on Sorry Ma Forgot to Take Out the Trash. Wow, I got homework. I'm going to be looking that up when I'm done here.
Here's one that says, Common, could you have Oak give us his thoughts on Martin Zeller and/or the Gear Daddies?
Well, other than one of the greatest bands out of Minnesota of all time, so this would go back to the 80s here, mid to late 80s with me. They are a local band, and they are from rural roots, but very much of the city at the time. And Martin Zeller had kind of a raspy drawl. The band was filled with great players, and they just had this persona that was, given the nature of Minnesota music in the 80s, they weren't really like anybody else. They were kind of Americana. They were kind of folksy. You know, the Jayhawks are the Jayhawks, but Gear Daddies were writing songs that were a little more immediate and personal, like songs like Statue of Jesus, where the chorus is sitting downtown
On a railway station, one toke over the line?
very much like that, like down to just too drunk and he's sitting at the Statue of Jesus. So it feels like small town Minnesota. Martin's voice was incredible. He's gone on to do Martin Zeller and the Hard Ways and some other stuff as well. And so have the other members of the band, moved on to other bands. But the Gear Daddies are one of my all-time favorite Minnesota bands, certainly from that era.
Can I ask you a question quick on Gear Daddies?
Hit me.
Because I'm a fan of the Gear Daddies, and I've always, you know, I have some things like, you know, the iHeartRadio app and like Apple Music, and like Gear Daddies doesn't show up.
Oh, really?
So when you have like Martin Zeller music will show up, but not Gear Daddy specific music. So what's the rationale? But what's
That's
What's
a great
happening
question.
to prevent that?
I have no idea. It could be, I don't know. I mean, because it could be that the label's doing it, but everybody involved stands to make at least a sliver of money, right? So I don't know who would be standing in the way of it. I know that I can't imagine that Martin Zeller would be blocking the release of Gear Daddies stuff on there because, I mean, the Gear Daddies gave all those guys their lifelong music careers. That's a great question, Ten. I've got more homework now because I have zero idea what you could like.
Well,
if you
like
go
they
to
have like
Spotify,
one,
you can't get it.
one album on there, but not all their stuff.
Interesting. Well, that sounds to me then like some kind of label thing or management thing, but I honestly haven't heard in this particular case, but that's a bummer because if people want to get into the Gear Daddies or be like, well, what's all this? What are they wasting so much time about? Go listen to Let's Go Scare Al or Billy's Live Bait. And they have other stuff too. Yeah, you would know because you're the hockey player guy, the Zamboni song, right?
Yeah,
and that's like the big kind of goofy fan favorite. It's a cool song, but it's not
really them.
It's not really the heart of what they were all about. I don't begrudge them the success of that song because, boy, wouldn't we all be lucky to have a super popular hit that everyone screams for when we play live. But Billy's Live Bait and Let's Go Scare Al are excellent starting points if you can find it for Gear Daddies.
Tenebee, do you have a USA?
No, we have a new bit that we're going to try today.
Okay.
It's a new
baby.
bit.
I love
Okay,
it.
well-
With a new really bad open.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
Also
let's
love
go.
that.
Rock rank. Rock rank.
Rock rant.
Rock rank.
Rock
Rock
rant.
rank.
Oh, a little inflection on that fourth one.
What was it?
It's actually rock rank.
Oh, rock rank.
Yeah.
rank.
I just randomly would like Brian Oak to rank some things.
Oh,
So
my goodness.
Here's the topic.
Rock rank.
Here's the topic for today. Just right off the top of your head. See if you can pull this one off.
No prep, huh? Okay, cool.
So I need you to give me top 5 in order.
Ouch. Oh, is this like the thing that you did the other day with Gerdsey
No,
for tennis?
that's just, yeah, you can tell I like rankings because that's blind rank.
Okay,
This
all
is
right.
not blind rank. This is just you off the top of your head, whatever 5, however you want to rank them.
Okay, let's hear.
Groups or bands that are the best at harmonizing, 1 through 5. Who are your favorite harmonizing bands or groups?
Really, and you're not giving me any prep on this whatsoever.
Can I help too?
Sure, yeah, you can do your own. You can do
I'm
your
going
own
to be
rock
all
rank.
old school, but I would say Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
They are certainly in the conversation. If I'm going to be honest, and I know I'm going to get mocked mercilessly here, the most effortless harmonizing I've ever seen in my entire life, live and in person from about 10 feet away, were by Amy and Emily, the Indigo Girls. I've never seen, I know, go ahead, laugh it up. I expected nothing more, but I'm going to tell you right now, it was like they were one person, but with 2 voices. It was absolutely incredible. Another great sort of indie band that broke up before they had a chance to really get rolling, I think, the Civil Wars, male-female duo. They were absolutely spectacular. I'm going to get destroyed for this one too, but
ABBA.
Eagles.
Eagles, yeah, well, yeah.
Eagles were, I mean, they had 5-part harmonies all over the place, and they were, I know people rip on them for being a David Geffen boy band, but they were spectacular. And who did you just say?
Who did I
ABBA.
say?
You said ABBA?
Oh, absolutely. Now, again, a lot of that is studio production, but no, there's so many. If you'd given me a little bit of time to do some prep on
That's
this,
not how we do rock rank.
I understand.
And one more. Here's another one. That, and this is to show you that I'm well versed in all musical styles. Boys to Men.
Ouch.
I just looked up.
No, I mean, Boys and Men, why are you saying ouch? Boys and Men would be there. They're terrific.
Well, terrific seems really super
What are you talking
strong.
about?
How about the Temptations?
This is the guy who loves the Bone Thugs and Harmony, okay?
Well, they're the best at harmonizing. There's no doubt about that.
How about Peter, Paul, and Mary? The Temptations.
Yeah, Simon and Garfunkel.
Yes.
Temptations are a perfect example.
The Mamas and the Papas.
Another excellent example. Queen, they could harmonize.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Well,
obviously.
Beach Boys and the Beatles could harmonize.
There you go. I mean, and so, boy, 1 through 5. As far as talent or popularity or personal opinion.
Your opinion.
Okay, my opinion then, number 1 all time is going to be the Beatles.
I thought you said Indigo Girls. Dang it.
No, but I'm telling you, I've never heard harmonies like those before in my life.
Well, we're just talking about strictly the harmonizing part. We're not talking about their hits or how many good songs they put out, just in terms of voices coming together as a harmony.
It sounds controversial. To me.
Very
Check it out.
controversial and with no prep because I
Well,
know
we just named 10 bands.
I
do, you
know.
have, do you have more ranks, or is that the only one?
I could come up with another one, yeah.
No, but that's okay. I'm gonna.
But we'd have to play the open again.
Actually, though, but you know what? I'm putting the Beach Boys ahead of the Beatles because the harmonies were so much more sophisticated. So I'm going to go Beach Boys, then I'm going to go Beatles, then I'm going to go Mamas and the Papas, then I'm going to go
The Temptations.
Indigo Girls.
Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and the Temptations.
Do you want another rock rank? Is that what you're on?
Yes, let's do rock rank.
Rock rank.
This is hard.
Rock rank.
Rock rank.
Rock rank.
Rock rank.
Rock rant.
Rock rank.
All right, Brian Oak. I think another band or group that's probably good at harmonizing would be Fleetwood Mac. I want you to rank the members of Fleetwood Mac in order of who you like, 1 through 5.
Can I do it too?
Sure.
All right. Well, I've got my list already in my
Mine's
head.
Christy McVie is number one.
Exactly. I
Christy
think we
McVie.
both agree with that because she's the secret weapon there.
I've asked people who, I enjoy both immensely, but if I'm ranking my favorite vocalist of the two between Stevie Nicks and Christy McVie, it's Christy McVie.
Yeah. See, I would take her based on songwriting alone.
Yes.
I like, even though it's got a little bit of a goat warble to it, I like Stevie Nicks' voice a lot.
Goat warble, I like that.
You know, a little bit of that goat.
That'd be a great name for a band.
Just a little bit
Goat
of the
warble.
This weekend at Club Underground. So I'm going to go Christine McVie. I am then going to go with Mick Fleetwood just because he is a goofy looking dude, but also a good drummer. And then I'm going to go with Stevie Nicks, followed by Lindsey Buckingham and the other guy.
The other guy.
Was it John McVie?
John McVie.
Yeah. And so, that would be the order that I would put them. What about you?
Well, see, I got to go back to.
Oh, see, he's not asking. He's asking of the modern era.
Are we sure he
of
is?
the famous? Well, because if you're going to go back to the Peter Green era, then
Peter Green is probably number one.
No.
Well, he started the band.
Well, I know, but not in the era we're talking about.
Well,
and then there's
did he
another
say
era.
I didn't say anything about an era.
You said put all five members in order.
Oh, yeah, he did say. Because what about Danny Kirwan?
Sure. What about him?
How good was he?
Good.
He was part of the Bare Trees era. They were very best.
Yeah. Well, everyone.
Just before. See, I actually like that iteration, if that's the right word, of Fleetwood Mac more than the one that was the most famous with Rumors, even though they had the most success. And I love it. I think it's wonderful. But when they had Bob Welch and Danny Kirwan, that's when I thought they were at their very best.
Well, and I'm going to change my ordering briefly because I am going with Christine McVie. Then also with then I'm going to go the order that you might expect. I'm going to go with Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, then Mick Fleetwood, then John McVie.
Did you know that Mike Campbell and Neil Finn played for them as well? Remember when they kicked out Lindsey Buckingham?
Oh yeah,
This is what, and again, I
Neil Finn from Crowded House,
yes,
and who else did you say?
Mike Campbell from
Heartbreakers, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
This is what they say. It was so hard to replicate what Lindsey Buckingham did. They needed two guys to do it.
Yep.
His finger picking. That's what they talk about. And I'm no expert on any of this. It's just what I read.
Mm-hmm.
They say it's astonishing what he can do. Finger picking is, I think, is like the hardest thing to do in guitar playing, is what I'm told. What I've read.
You don't think of Fleetwood Mac as a guitar band, like, oh my God, the guitar playing so amazing. But Lindsey Buckingham, everybody recognizes that he is one of the true greats.
He, if you watch, there's a live performance out there of, speaking of the song Everywhere, of a concert they did, and to watch him play the guitar part on Everywhere, it's different from it's much different than the radio version of it. It's just it's astonishing how good it is. I'd give it a watch if you can.
Will do.
You reached 500, right?
Yeah, 505 episodes of the Brian Oak Show podcast are in the can, as we say in the business, and available for people to peruse at their leisure. You can find the Brian Oak Show podcast, as well as over 250,000 other podcasts, at America's destination for podcasting. That would be the free iHeartRadio app. Again, the Brian Oak Show, over 500 episodes. We'll keep doing it. And I'll see you again on Friday for a little password.
Oh, great. Sweet. And we encourage text messages during Rock Talk, because I'm getting more now that are coming in that we'd be able to get to. So next week when you come in on Wednesday, we'll do some text messages too. People can ask you questions like the Gear Daddies one. Somebody else wanted to know. He said Rodney Crowell will be at the Fitzgerald this fall. Want to know what you thought about him. He goes, do you have any favorite shows from the venue, the Fitzgerald, and blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people have music questions for you, so we'll do that next week.
Well, you're not here next week, but I'll have to talk with Oak.
What?
You're not here next
that's
week.
Right, I'm out. That's
You're
right,
off.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out for a week, that's right. I'm gone for a week's vacation, then I'm back, and I'm never leaving again.
That's what you say.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
That's Brian Oak with Rock Talk. Mark Rosen next here on The Fan.
Lenovo is built for creators who don't wait for inspiration. They chase it. With inventive tech, built-in AI tools, and seamless performance, Lenovo devices powered by Intel Core Ultra processors are designed to bring your wildest ideas to life faster. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Enjoy flexible financing, rewards on every purchase, and free shipping. And students get special offers when you create an account at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.